So I just want to do this last activity. Now that you've experienced using DALL-E as a visioning exercise, you can use this QR code to say if you recommend using DALL-E in city design based on your experience today. So 9 of you voted and about 6.2 on 10. Seems higher than the last time. So I think like the experience today was, can you use the tool to communicate your vision on main streets? And you got a bit of a like quick run through that experience in case you want to organize a workshop one day or use this tool as part of your work to generate visions of main streets. We won't have time to do a like write it on post-its, but I'd love as a checkout, as the last thing, just like a quick reaction on what surprised you or what are you going to retain, and it could be just like a quick thing. Yeah, so that's the last activity, just to get people's reaction. So maybe Ose very quickly.
Yeah. Okay, I have not been here the whole session, but doing prompts is difficult, but it's also worth it. Like I really liked your last slide with the picture. It was really good at demonstrating how you can actually utilize the tool in a good way. So that surprised me. Yeah.
Thank you.
This time I give a 9 point because I think in some future or sci-fi scenario where even designers don't know what the scene would be, DALL-E will be more powerful than I expected. So I give a 9.
Thank you, Song. Just a quick reaction.
Pretty much like what Song says. What surprised me is DALL-E can generate something surprised me.
Kate?
I had conflicted feelings about this question because I felt like I took away from this that it can create like very useful and inspiring and cool images, but just has to be used very thoughtfully, or it could create images that are like, don't actually feel connected to the human experience. So I think I agree that Lindsay and Will's image, where they were being very thoughtful about the prompting, was like a really good example of how it could be used well.
Thank you very much. Max?
Okay, I came in as an AI hater, still an AI hater. However, anyway, however, I think it's still very important to understand the importance of narratives, or at least what that can do, especially for your goals of an organization. Like, I think most people here would say, like, oh, the issue with like climate change or enacting this is just a matter of policy, and how do we do this? Obviously by visuals, making things look nice. And I don't know, maybe in an ideal world we can have like content forms that post nothing but DALL-E generated urban videos or urban propaganda to make people like main streets and the idea of this. But yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I think to that last bit with the prompts, I think it's a good sort of really good example, again, as other people said, and I think so much of like I guess nowadays the conversation around AI is, oh, everything's going to be easier, right? But I think with this, it's a really good example that even with DALL-E, it takes just as much effort as you would talking to a person, right? If you use low effort and less words, your vision's not going to come across as well as it would with more words, more effort, and that's still true. You know, it doesn't. I mean, it can do a lot, but you need to still put effort into it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would say, I came here on the edge about AI, and I'd say I would still kind of in the middle. I think that there definitely is a place for it, especially in being used as a tool to help generate ideas. but I don't think it should take over the entire process. And I think it's also very susceptible to society's biases. Like my team, we almost couldn't get a full main street without cars being visualized. And that's something I can just picture in my own head. And so if AI can't do it, we have to think about what are the biases in our society, who are the people that make the AI and what biases do they have, and what biases may that reproduce.
Thank you very much.
I gave this an 8. Couple of things to keep in mind is I wasn't at the second session, and we spent a lot of time on the prompt and not on generating. So the 8 is reflective purely off of the last thing that we just showed y'all. But because based off of the last thing I showed you, having only used this twice, I think that the better or the more intentional you are about thinking about what you want, what you would like to see generated, in combination with being intentional about how the GPT understands the language that you're using or the order that you've presented it, this can be a very useful tool for like communication. I don't think that it's necessarily a useful tool for replacing like iterative design or like to scale design, but I do think it could be really useful for like having conversations with community or various stakeholders and allowing folks to demonstrate how they see things or showing folks new ways of seeing things in ways that words fail us.
Thanks, Will.
So I gave a score of 9. Yeah, so I think before this workshop, I may give 10 actually, because I feel I'm always a big fan of AI. Yeah, but after this workshop, I think the reduced 1% is for, I still think human intelligence plays an important role during the interaction phases, because I feel if we do not think anything and just ask GPT to think himself, I feel his answer is quite general, and actually sometimes it cannot really help to a specific street or a specific project. So I think the human's expertise still
matters.
Yeah, important.
Thank you very much.
So as a user, I now know I have a better sense of the work that I have to do to maybe get near the results that I want from the last presentation. And so as if I were going to participate in a public situation where this was used, I would need to prepare by getting to the point where I got an image that represented what I want. And that's a whole set of time I need to put in, plus learning the technology better, in order to do that. But seeing our experience and what the last slide could do, I realize it's possible, that you can get somewhere with it. And with the public, my particular concern is public understanding of what's going to hit us. And I can see that this might have some value, but it also is a huge amount of work.
Thank you.
Like others said, I also think that more than from DALL-E, I was surprised by how we use DALL-E. So, because many times we had something in mind, but we were asking ourselves, okay, how can we write it down? So, okay, accessibility, but maybe we should write a physical accessibility or an accessible pathway or something else. So I think that I was like disappointed about some images, but maybe I'm the one that is not able to actually explain what I want in that image. So I don't know where is the limit where I should be more able to explain to DALL-E what I want in the image, or it's also DALL-E that is not able to capture what I want, let's say.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think there is potential for this as a tool with particularly public engagement, but like if I was to bring this to a public engagement session right now, without, I mean, maybe if it was very specialized with a custom GPT, but I think that it would be hard for laymen, like the average resident, to use it currently without very strong guidelines from whoever's running that workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you very much. Will, you want to say last thing, very quick?
This is more conversational.
Okay, yeah. But your team seemed to have like changed perspectives on like what the tool could do. So give yourselves a big round of applause for lasting for 3 hours. I thought it was gonna only last for 2 hours, but for some reason it went more. And I just wanted to do an acknowledgement in terms of who's funding my research, Fulbright Canada, which I'm grateful to, and my Federal Economic Development Agency based in Quebec. And so if you have any questions or wanted to reach out, please don't hesitate. And I will send you a post-workshop survey, so you might get emails from me, and you'll have a week to respond. But thank you very much for participating in this thought experiment. I really appreciate it. Thank you.